Hello there, Sir from 17 once again. This is the world reveal of the Dark Souls 2 trailer. This is me going to be giving you a little bit of analysis, a little bit of my thoughts on it, and just breaking down some aspects of this pretty controversial trailer in my mind. So here it is, if you've not seen it. It begins with, some pretty interesting looking... It's all CGI, guys. It's all, pre-rendered stuff. This is not going to be in-engine at all. And as usual, we've got an interesting looking knight protagonist who's wandering around, much like in previous things that they've shown in the Souls series. These are, one would think, all new environments, little teasers of things to come. Everything looks very reminiscent of the style of a Souls game. Couple of interesting notices here with the dragons. The game, the trailer does say that it's going to be a new storyline, a new world, yet it's carrying on the Dark Souls name, which I find really bizarre. And as we've learnt from previous games in this genre, or from Software's library, these are usually meant to be as vague as possible, so that we don't really have much grasp of what the hell's going on. Because this guy here could literally be the equivalent of Oscar, the dude who gives you the Estus flask. I mean, that looks like the old one, that there, and the bridge that they walked across looked like the painted world of Ariamis. I mean, it's just such a strange thing. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm as excited as anybody else. The whole dragons don't exist after the war, yet we now have plenty of dragons things, and these dudes that look like wannabe painted guardians, only now they kind of look like the bad guy out of Ninja Gaiden 3. And this guy filled with arrows, and the most exciting part about this guy for me is the fact that he's wearing fur, because I'm a big fan of capes and any kind of cloth and pelts and fur and all that kind of great stuff, which this game does have in abundance. Hopefully that's what I'm looking for. But that is the trailer, and as the crestfallen warrior would say, it's not much to go on, but that is a good thing. And I was intending to slow it down and say what I thought about this, what I thought about that, but watching it back just then, I think the trailer speaks a lot for itself. There's not really too much that I wanted to dig deep into, so I'm gonna start talking about my thoughts on it, because I don't get this, guys. I really don't. No, don't get me wrong. I'm excited as anybody else. The next Souls game, regardless of what it is, I am I'm going to fall in love with, I'm going to play to death, and I cannot wait for it. But as it stands, I have absolutely no idea why this is Dark Souls 2 and not something Souls. It makes no sense at all. In fact, the only real reason I can think for this is because of how commercially successful Dark Souls was, thanks to the foundation left by Demon Souls. And the only real reason I can think of them for making a sequel is so that they can use a name that garners so much attention to hopefully make this an extremely popular and, lucrative game. That is the only motivation that stands out to me right now, because it just doesn't make sense. They don't make sequels to these games. They make successors that are in different universes that have very similar themes. They throw homage to things all the time, because there are constant, references back to previous things with similar voice actors, similar characters, similar themes. And to have a direct sequel using pretty much only the name, and then set it in a different storyline, different characters, seemingly different world. I mean, the start of the trailer kind of looks like that bird's flying towards an Anor Londo type area, because it's got the same lighting and all that kind of stuff. But for all we know, it could be anything. And all the people that have speculated that Lordran is the sixth gate in Demon Souls Nexus that's broken, that you can't go anywhere to, the land of the giants in the north. There's all this speculation of people putting these worlds together, even though they're probably not. And then now we've got this blatant just juxtaposition, if anything, of here is Dark Souls 2, and in theory you're going to think that it's going to take on all the principles that made Dark Souls 2 great and improve them in new environments and stuff. Yet it's a completely new director. It's different story, different characters, as I've mentioned. It's essentially a different game with the same name. So it puts me in a bit of a conflicting path, because when I think Dark Souls 2, I think Lordran. I think embellishing upon Lordran, embellishing upon the stories of Lordran, the past and things, maybe, when Gwyn was young, when Gwyn was a knight himself, and he had the Black Knights before they got burnt black, and all that kind of stuff. Like the kiln, trying to find the kiln, maybe it could be the most amazing backstory to the game that we all love and play. And I hope it, can do fantastic things in that direction, but at the same time, with the looks of it, it's a completely different game, just with the same name, so I'm really confused. Because, don't get me wrong, when I played Dark Souls and I played Demon Souls, the one thing I hate the most about Demon Souls is the UI. I like Dark Souls UI, there's something about it. It's the first one I played, it's the one I enjoyed the most. I like the bonfire system, I like the humanity system. I like Dark Souls, and I like it a lot. So, having a new Souls game with that foundation to me is a fantastic idea, but I don't think that's what this means. And as much as I would like Dark Souls, 1.5, I don't think that would benefit the series or be in any way, shape or form a good thing. It has to be different, because the one thing about From Software is they don't make annualized sequels. They don't do well, they probably do. They might have like a Dynasty Warriors under the belt, but I'm talking exclusively about the Souls series. The difference between Demon Souls and Dark Souls was massive, and I want another massive jump, but at the same time, I don't know if calling the game Dark Souls 2 is going to be, of a carrier of that kind of philosophy, because I don't think that they will be able to be as broad and as different when they're taking, the title from the last one. So, I'm optimistic, don't get me wrong. I always hope for games to be fantastic when they come out, and I cannot wait for this game. No doubt it's not going to come out until next year. No doubt it's going to be like November next year, October, something like that. So we do have a long time to wait. There's just been CG shown, no engine, no nothing, and I don't know. Very, very interesting moment for Dark Souls fans. What do y'all guys think? What is the speculation or the rumour mills that you've been hearing? Because so far I've not had a chance to look into it, because if I'm completely honest, I've not been paying attention to gaming news these last 2 days, because I've been playing a giant pile of shit game called Chainsaw Lollipop, and I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. But this is interesting, because a couple of things that they've mentioned on the press release from IGN, which I read, was it's going to be new characters, new world, all that kind of stuff, and new matchmaking. So the PvP system in it is hopefully going to be less laggy, it's going to be more focused, but at the same time, I hope they don't change how it's set up, because the one thing that is the most unique aspect of Dark Souls is how different the online is, and it's a very divisive point. It's something that people hate, it's something that people love. For instance, I got a message today telling me that anybody who invades deserves to get ganked by a complete fucking idiot who's obviously a ganker and likes to co-op with his friend, because for whatever reason he does that, and he doesn't like it when people come in and kill him. So it just goes to show the online is controversial, just as this trailer in itself to me is controversial, and I wonder what they're going to change. I wonder what's going to be different. This is the beginning of the pondering, the musings, the echoes in the halls, and I'm excited. So I hope you guys are too. Thank you for watching. I do apologise if you think I've just, put a trailer in 2 videos for the sake of doing it. I was hoping to get a bit more information from the trailer and be all deceptive and analytical, but it turns out it's just a dude covered in wolf fur getting shot by arrows, a couple of flying about dragons, and, a bad narrator. Thanks for watching, and you take care now.